And we'll try to get him to come all the way up to that surface. And that is Big George. He's about 400 pounds and as long as this dog. That is about half the size that the Goliath grouper can grow to be. They can get upwards to 800 pounds. That is the same size as a Volkswagen Beetle underneath the water. Now they are the second largest species of grouper in the world. The largest is going to be the Queensland grouper from Australia. And those can get upwards to 1,000 pounds. The Goliath grouper, they are an ambush predator. And that means that they're going to lie in wait for their prey to come to them, which allows them to conserve their energy and get to those larger sizes. Now, as an ambush predator, he'll lie in wait underneath docks or boats or even coral reef structures, waiting for their prey to come by. Now, just like you noticed and saw, they'll open that large mouth of theirs, drawing in water and food, consuming that prey entirely. Just like a vacuum, they form negative pressure. There we go. And so when they draw that food into their mouth, they're consuming that prey entirely. Now, some types of meals that they might eat would be a spiny lobster, a parrotfish, or even a small shark. However, if Big George were to eat such a large meal like that, he might not be hungry for a whole nother week or two. So that's why we do these two smaller offerings each day that add up to the same amount of calories that they would obtain in the wild. Now, Goliath groupers, they are a protected species here in the Keys as they were facing near extinction due to habitat loss and overfishing. Now, the habitats that they were losing were the nursery grounds, which are found in the roots of the red mangroves. And they are a broadcast spawner, which means they're going to have those fertilized eggs drift throughout the water and be carried by the current into the roots of the red mangroves. And those will be protected from larger predators. However, the red mangroves are also another protected species here as they were being cut down due to overdevelopment for beachfront houses. He's right below the bay. It looks like he's not going to decide to take it or not. There he goes. I will offer him one more piece here as his full diet for each of these meals. Now, since they have been on the protected species list since the 90s, their population has returned, so much so that they've actually become a nuisance fish now. They like to lie at the bottom of a fisherman's boat, wait for the fisherman to do all that hard work, reeling up their nice big catch, and then that Goliath grouper is going to come right on by, snag that catch off their line. And that's a nice, easy, and lazy way for the Goliath grouper to get a large meal without exerting too much of that energy. If you do happen to cook a Goliath grouper on your line, you want to make sure that you're using biodegradable hooks as well as leaving that animal in the water. Pulling such a large animal out of the water and onto your boat can cause them internal injuries that they might not be able to sustain. Now that is all I'm going to feed for our Goliath grouper here. We'll see if some of the other smaller fish out here are hungry. Like I said, we have over 30 different species of fish in this lagoon. We got some tarpon and jacks out here, as well as our colorful fish, which are our parrotfish that we have in the lagoon. But that is all I'm going to feed for George here today. Thank you for joining us on the feed. Up next we're going to have is our 2:30 meet and greet with our American alligator, which will be in our Everglades. If you go across the next bridge to the left, we'll have Echo out for pets and photos at 2:30. Otherwise, if you'd like to follow me, I'll be heading to the back section of our lagoon to feed a smaller Goliath grouper. But thank you again, and let us know if you have any questions. Enjoy your day in the aquarium.
Now, the alligators are actually native to Florida state in their freshwater systems and swampy areas. They actually were protected back in the 1970s because they're haunted to local extinction, either for fear factor purposes or for the fashion industry. But since then, they actually have come back incredibly so. They've actually become very common almost anywhere in Florida. So golf courses, backyards, parks, parking lots, anywhere. They are often be located to the Everglades for everybody's safety. Now they are going to be found in water regions, as they are built for the water as well. They are cold-blooded, meaning they cannot control their internal body temperature. They would hop out of water, get nice and warm, sit in the sun for a bit, and hop again to get cool and cool off a bit. They're often mistaken for crocodiles. Those whole differences to be able to tell the differences of them. The first is going to be the presence or absence of them in saltwater systems. So crocodiles actually can go into saltwater. They do have additional glands inside their bodies to actually get that excess salt buildup. However, alligators do not. If they were in the saltwater for too long, they would eventually get dehydrated from excess salt buildup. Next with the shape of their nose, alligators are going to have a nice rounded snout, whereas crocodiles are going to have a nice V or pointed snout. And next we are going to have these set of teeth. Usually on the alligators, we're only going to see one set of teeth being the top row, whereas crocodiles are going to see both sets of teeth interlocking together, not quite closing their mouth. Both are going to be found in the water areas. They're actually built for the water. They're going to have a very powerful tail to propulse themselves through the water, and more of a pointed nose to also torpedo through as well. Their tail part, just like sharks, are going to use to propulse themselves through the water, and also, similarly to sharks, they are going to continuously replace their teeth. They've got like an infinite amount of teeth, just like sharks. If anybody has ever had gator bites, actually where they got all the meat was in that tail part, and use that tail for all the excess nutrient storage. And as to believe that when they slow down their metabolism, they can actually go a couple of months without eating at a time. Now we're ready for the meat part. I'm going to bring her out to you. You're going to pat her nice and gentle, feel along her back or along her tail. What you're actually going to feel all called osteoderms. The osteoderm is just a hard and bony ridge along their backs. Actually acts as one big heating pad and allows for greater heat absorption. And just like if you're petting a horseshoe crab, a stingray, or our gator today, you're going to use a nice gentle hand along her back or along her tail. I'm going to keep her head end towards me, but I can pose her around for anybody who'd like pictures with the kids or parents or adults. Either one is fine. I'm going to start this way. I work my way around this way, so everyone's going to stay in their place. I'll make sure we get up to everybody today with our gator. So this way you can put her nice and gentle here along her back or tail.
Got it. Got you, lovey. All right.
Good job.
Thank you.
You're welcome. You have a gator shirt on. I like it. That works out well for today, doesn't it? Kind of cool, huh? Cool. Wow. Oh, you can go. Feels kind of different, right?
Oh, that's a lovely cup.
Oh my goodness! She can't hear you!
Sorry.
Oh.
Just kidding. Sorry, little gator.
She has to grow first, right? Gotta feed her up. Now, alligators are mostly portrayed as green in color, but as you can see, she's not actually green. Her skin color or her scale colors are more blackish, brownish. But usually that green is just excess algae growth in the water around them that leads to excess algae growth on top of their bodies.
Can they feel us petting them?
Of course, yeah.
What are the scales made out of? Sorry? What are the scales, like, are they made out of keratin like our fingernails?
Yes, it is a harder, bonier substance, keratin and calcium. So it makes them a bit rougher to tear through. They actually did a really cool study where mostly alligators, they can harm each other, of course, but not many other animals can, besides going through internally. They actually did a really cool study where they dropped a alligator carcass down to really, really deep depth to see if isopods can break through, like our isopods that we have up top. They can't. They went right through the mouth. Kind of cool.
These apex predators here are very important to the balance of our ecosystem, as well as important to our food web. Phytoplankton is the basis of our food web. It produces over 80% of the oxygen that is in our environment. That is more than all of our forests combined. And the smaller fish in our food web are going to feed on those phytoplankton, and these apex predators here are going to feed on those smaller fish. So without these apex predators here, our smaller fish population is going to increase and our phytoplankton population is going to decrease, thus causing an imbalance in our food web and our entire ecosystem. So that is why it is very important that we protect and conserve all the species that we have surrounding our coral reefs as well as out in our oceans. And that is all I have to feed here today for these two tanks, but thank you so much for joining us on this feed today. Up next, our next feeding will be at 4:15. It'll be our end of day feed for all the residents in Big Shark Bay out on our island. So if you head back over Tarpon Bridge onto our island, it'll be that first tank on your left. And that is Big Shark Bay at 4:15. If anybody has any questions, please feel free to ask and I'll be able to answer those for you. But thank you again for joining us on this feed, and I hope you enjoy your day here at the aquarium.
Here we do have our Caribbean spiny lobsters. The Caribbean spiny lobsters is not a touch tank. As their name suggests, they have lots of spines all over their bodies for protection. But you actually can help us feed them throughout the day for just $2 a cup. The Caribbean spiny lobster you're going to find here in the Florida Keys under different rock filters, under the coral reef. And they're going to be about this size. However, they are what's called indeterminate growers, meaning they do not have a maximum size. As long as food and predators allow them to, they're going to continue to grow. What they're going to do is they're going to shed the outside layer of their shell, which leaves a perfect grub lookout behind what the lobster used to look like. So these up here are not dead lobsters. They're all lobster molts. They leave everything behind. Life protection, they're going to grow all new again the next time they do molt. And here you have our Florida stone crab. The Florida stone crab fisheries here in the Florida Keys is actually very sustainable, as it actually kills the entire animal to take their claws. So they're going to grow the claw all new again the next time they do molt. So you can rest assured when you're ordering stone crab claws, up against the actually any of your wild population.
Here it comes, get ready. Here it comes.